Hi, on today's show I'm joined by Chris from the Red Rebel Alliance. We discuss, was Solanke's goal right to be disallowed? Is Liverpool's luck set to change? And does Liverpool need a more classic number 9? As always, we'll have your fantasy football advice and our predictions for the weekend's fixtures. So once again, I invite you to sit back, relax and join us over the pool and far away. Hi, thanks for joining us. Joined as per usual now by Chris Stridgen from the Red Rebel Alliance. Chris, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Well, it was another tough game, wasn't it? You know, but
It was tough to take the result.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to take the positives. 11 games unbeaten.
Yep.
Hopefully, this rotation's gonna come back in a good way for us at some point.
Yes.
And suppose, well, let's just kick off, shall we, with kick-off? So, obviously, the major question today is, was Solanke's goal right to be disallowed? What do you think?
Yes, I think it was right to be disallowed. But I will say I think it's a bit of a grey area.
Yeah.
If that's a defender, it's not a penalty. Because it's not a clear, deliberate handball. But as a striker, that going in off your arm, you're getting a clear advantage by using your arm, even though it's not on purpose. So it's not a goal. But I think if it was flipped around and it was a defender, I don't think it'd be a penalty. And I know that's a dodgy way to look at it, but...
No, not at all. As you say, it's a grey area, so it is a lot down to interpretation. So, I mean, my personal opinion is that to the letter of the law, it could easily have counted. But as you say, it's a grey area, so whether it's... I don't think it's a right decision or a wrong decision. What I will say is...
Don't say these things even themselves up.
No, well, I was going to say partly that, but that was more coming later. But what I was going to say is, either way, I wouldn't have had a problem with it if I was a neutral.
Yeah.
But I believe West Brom deserve their point. And from that point of view, if I take all bias away, if I was a West Brom fan and a goal that hit someone's hand before it went in would have been what undid such a brilliant performance. And listen, this wasn't Everton. This wasn't 11 men behind the ball with no intention to attack. They were hitting us on the break. They were giving us things to think about. In the start of that second half, they were much the better team. So I've no problem with them sitting up like that. It's when a team sets up and makes no attempt whatsoever to play football, that's when it gets to me. So, as I say, for me personally, I have no problem with that decision. I don't know if it's the right decision, but I've got no problem with it.
Yeah, because it could have gone either way, you're right. To be fair to you as well, this was mentioned on the last podcast by yourself, that Pardew wouldn't set up the same as Everton did. And he didn't. He did go for it. There were times when they got the ball out wide and they had 4 or 5 people getting forward, and in the box they did try and go for it. The bar, like you say, if you're a neutral sat there watching, a draw was probably the right result.
Yeah.
Despite the possession and maybe a couple more shots on target, I think you could probably even argue that if anybody was going to get 3 points, it was going to be them.
Yeah, and again, if I'm taking all bias aside, they would have earned their 3 points. We didn't really do enough to earn... Well, we did do enough to earn a point, obviously, but if it was a scorecard, you know, like if you're talking about what the two teams set up to do, we obviously set up to win. They set up to get a point, if not try and get 3. So obviously they were successful in what they attempted to do, and we were unsuccessful in what we attempted to do. So exactly. I have absolutely no problem whatsoever. What I do have a problem with is I tried to do a little bit of research for the podcast. I literally couldn't find whether or not it was or it wasn't a goal. And the worst part about it was Dermot Gallagher's review because they have him on, to say whether he agreed with referees' decisions or not on Sky Sports.
Okay, I've not seen this.
Oh, it's hilarious. So, well, on this occasion, it was hilarious. He basically said that it wasn't intentional, so it should have been given, and then in the same breath said that you can't score with your hand, so he's covered that way. So even he couldn't tell us, but what he did, obviously, was back the referee, because...
But if he'd have worded it the way that we just did, he would have come out with a lot more credit than that.
Yeah, exactly. But what he said was, Dermot's call is that it's the correct decision, and then he went on to say nothing concrete to say as to why. So... As I say, I don't know whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision. I don't know. I have no... I tried to look it up. I really did. But I looked up the FA rules. There's rules about handball. There's rules about deliberate handball. There's rules about giving free kicks and penalties and all that.
That's it. And gaining an advantage and stuff like that. I've had a little bit of a look myself.
But there's nothing in this situation.
No, there isn't.
And the only thing...
It's the other way around.
Well, if you're taking it from the letter of the law from what I read... it's not a deliberate handball, so there's no infraction, so the goal stands, as far as what I can see, because they clearly, I think it was 2012, they changed the rules about ball to hand and handball. That's not handball, that's ball to hand. So he's done nothing wrong, so the goal should, and I say should very, like air quotes, should stand.
It's a really badly worded rule. I think all it should say, that rule, is it's open to the referee's interpretation. And I know that doesn't protect the ref, but do we have to protect the ref all the time? It's a decision-making game. I mean, if it's ball to hand and not hand to ball, if that's the actual rule now, what's to stop you leaving your hand in a position where you know the ball's going to hit it?
Yeah, and there are going to be teams... Well... I love to use this example, but do you remember the offside rule when it first changed and it was not interfering with play?
Yeah.
Ruud van Nistelrooy made a living off that rule.
Yes.
He was an absolute genius when it came to that rule. He had referees and linesmen just looking at each other going, I don't know. I don't know. Is he not? And fair play to him.
He went further and said that the advantage had to go to the offensive player.
Yeah.
So they could never give him.
Fair play to him. I think intelligence is a really underrated part of sport, because athletes, we look at them as, they're just machines, and you don't realise that to get to the level that they've got, certain players, especially if they're not the most physically gifted, have to have this intelligence, this game intelligence, and no one's got it better. And I hate to say it, and I'm just bringing in our American listeners here, but Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback who plays for Green Bay, and he makes his living off his brain. I mean,
intelligence.
He can just see things before they happen, and it's insane. And there's another one called Tony Romo who is now in the commentary box, and what he does is he'll basically sit there and he'll tell you what's going to happen before it happens, and it's incredible. But anyway, going back to footy.
I'll have to take your word for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you get a chance to check it out, just because I know you're someone who appreciates that side of things.
Absolutely. I mean, would you rather have a... It's a little bit unfair because he's far better player anyway, but would you rather have a David Silva or Emre Can? One is an absolute athlete, and the other one has got a footballing brain.
Precisely. The reason that Mourinho didn't like Kevin De Bruyne is because he wasn't the best at winning the ball back, and he played him in the wrong position. He played him out wide, played him like as a winger, or a wide midfielder, whatever you want to call him. And he didn't get the best out of him. And now you've got Guardiola, whose central midfield is made up of David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, and you would think to yourself, well, that's an easy win in the midfield 50-50, and yet he's got them battling for their lives. Yeah.
Well, they want to play for him. I mean, he's also, as well as being well drilled, I think Guardiola and Mourinho are two sides of a coin completely, where Mourinho doesn't want people who can think for themselves. He wants people who do as they're told.
We said that on the last podcast, and we'll continue to say it until we can see any difference. I personally don't understand how Anthony Martial is a wide player. I would have him as my number 9 all day long.
Yeah.
All day long. And I'd have Rashford as my number 9 all day long. If anything, I'd say that Manchester United have got an embarrassment of number 9s. And no actual wingers. They haven't got any. Name a winger who plays for United. The closest thing they've got to a winger is probably Ashley Young, and he's playing left back.
Yep, and that's a team that throughout history have thrived on decent wingers.
Yeah, well.
So let's get off them anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so on to the next topic. Is Liverpool's luck set to change?
No. Yes. I feel like we're in a similar position to we were in it early season. Or not early season, just after the start of the season, where it looked like we were going to give someone an absolute hiding. And if you look at the Everton game, we should have given them a hiding. We just didn't put the ball in the net. The West Brom game a little bit. We've just said they played very well and they set up to do what they did and did it very, very well. They did it better than we did our job. But on another day, the goal's given. On another day, our luck changes. On another day, Mane squares it. On another day, Firmino sees Coutinho.
Yeah.
And squares it. And it's little tiny things. There's not major problems. I've seen people absolutely having panic attacks over the last 2 games. People just need to chill out. There's not major problems.
No,
there's the same problems. That's the problem.
As I said at the start, we're 11 games unbeaten.
Yes.
Listen, if we'd have come off the back of that
7
Spurs
wins and 4
game...
draws as well.
What's that, sorry?
Sorry, 7 wins and 4 draws as well. It's not like...
Exactly.
I know the last 3 home games have been draws, which is a little bit worrying, but it's not like we're massive draw specialists.
The problem is that City have raised the bar.
Yeah.
And United are more consistent, and people are looking at Chelsea and Tottenham and Arsenal and just going, well, it's a 3-horse race for 4th. Some people, I don't believe that. I still believe second place is still wide open. First place is gone. Forget it. The only person who can catch City is Mourinho, and I don't think he's going to. No one else is catching them. They would have to have the most epic meltdown, and I feel like a hypocrite because I've said the league's not over in December, but I've never seen anything like this. Put it into perspective, they've got a better record than Arsenal's invincible team had.
At this stage,
they're on course. Yeah, they're on course to smash the Premier League record for points and goals.
The thing is, I can't see Guardiola sitting back in the last 6 to 8 games and grinding out draws like Arsenal did to become the Invincibles. I still think City will have a little blip. The problem is they've been that good, and they are that good. The blip won't be big enough and it won't be long enough.
They're not going to lose enough games. As I say, United are 11 points behind them at this moment in time. That is still possible. Anything more than that, it's never been. But I believe that 12 points is the most that anyone's come back from in December. So, they've got one hand on the trophy, and it sounds ridiculous to say that. And I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and I did come out with it the other day and say, listen, the trophy's not won in December, but the more I see of this team, the more I just think we could be we could be on for another Invincibles team here. Yeah, we really could. They've got the ability, and the scary thing is they've got an unlimited checkbook, and they will buy in January.
I was just going to say the same thing then before you brought that up. He's already said it, hasn't he? He's looking to strengthen the defence and push on and add to the team because he's worried that blip's coming.
And do you think if you're Virgil van Dijk, are you still in love with Liverpool or are you off to Man City?
I would like to think he's got his heart set on Liverpool already because of how much we've shown that we want him. I don't know, if I was looking at City, I'd be looking at the big defenders that they've signed in the last 5 years whose names have just disappeared. Mangala, 32 million, 34 million.
True.
Where is he now? Stones, 50 million. Yeah, he's all right now and again. He's not a 50 million pound centre half. And I don't know if he's going to get the recognition that he would get at Liverpool.
I'm wonder.
Maybe I'm hoping and grasping at straws. I don't know.
Well, I wonder if you watch City now, the way they play out from the back, and Liverpool play out from the back, I just wonder if Klopp would give him a little bit more license, and I wonder if it's whether he wants to be the man. If he wants to be a part of a team that are going to win the league, and he's just another part of it, then City's the right option for him. But if he wants to be the man who we build around,
if he wants to make the difference,
yeah. If he wants to be the leader, then he goes to Liverpool. And
I see him being captain within 12 months if he comes.
I think the one thing we've got in our favour, and you can't underestimate it, is in his head he was a Liverpool player.
Yeah.
He was already there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult to sort of get away from that. And City are running away with the title now, but before, like, the first 3 months or whatever, the first couple of months of the season, he's still thinking, I'm signing for Liverpool.
Yeah.
So
unless
he's done a
something
complete
massive
180.
has changed.
It's horrible though, because he's just so perfect for us.
Yeah.
He's like, Klopp said it time and time again, we need defenders who can play in open spaces. And he's brilliant at it. He's absolutely superb at it. And I've been watching a lot of him, obviously, because of the fact that I do believe he's going to be a Liverpool player. And just watching him when he plays for Southampton, he's a leader. He's screaming at people. When they sat back against Man City, it's him. He's screaming at people to be in the right place. He's telling people who aren't defenders to drop back into channels and make sure that they're picking up man. And then when he gets the ball in more open games, he's bringing it forward like he's a centre midfielder. He brings the ball better forward than Chan does.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So he's just perfect. And I
think the vocal thing's a massive thing, especially with our back 4-5. If you include the keeper at the moment, I think if we do get someone like Van Dijk in, and hopefully it is him, both keepers, whichever one plays, or if a new one comes in, need to be releasing that ball quicker, because it's got to be straight to his feet then to set up any attack.
There is a reason.
But vocal thing's the important thing, because I think our most vocal player at the back at the moment is probably Claver.
Well, Henderson's vocal, but all he does is he screws up a pass and then blames everyone around it. Have you ever seen him? Well, obviously you've seen him, but have you noticed that he does this?
Yeah, he does.
He'll play an absolutely pathetic pass, and then he'll scream at someone for not getting on the end of it, and you're like, mate, that ball was nowhere near him. Like, it's not like it was in front of him so he can run onto it. He just punts it out of play, and then starts screaming at people, and you're like... And then defensively, when he's out of position, and he chases back and he manages to get the tackle, he'll make the tackle, so he'll feel like he's done the right thing. And then he'll start screaming at people, and it's like, no, mate, that's where you should be. But yeah, anyway, the reason that I brought it onto Van Dijk somewhat is because I'm talking about Liverpool's look as a whole. And if our look is to change, I believe our look began to change. And don't get me wrong, look, it's one of those topics where you can say, well, I don't believe in luck and all that. You work for your luck. And I believe if you keep working, then the luck will come your way. So maybe luck's not the right way to say it, but I think the reason I'm saying...
It's right, though. It's the rubber, the green, and if you keep plugging away and you...
But not just that.
It'll come.
In transfers, I think we got lucky in the fact that Barcelona went all about Keita.
Yeah.
And we managed to sell ourselves to Keita before Barcelona took a real interest. Because if you ask Barcelona now, they definitely want Keita.
Yeah, they do, yeah. Barcelona's problem is that they react to what other people are doing in the transfer market and then nick in and take whoever they want. It didn't work with Keita because they came in too late.
I think, well, more so now, funnily enough, when Rijkaard, after Rijkaard, so in other words, Guardiola and what was his name? Not Bergestan, the other fella. I can't remember his name now.
Began with V.
Yes, Valverde. I was going to say, but it's not.
Villanova.
Is what?
Villanova.
That. Yeah, Tito Villanova. That's the one. Yeah, well played. Yeah, they had more of a style that was Barcelona style, and they only went for Barcelona players. Whereas now you get the feeling that it's kind of anything goes.
Yeah, I think they're trying to compete a little bit more with the physicality that Real Madrid bring to that league as well, because they've always been about nice, tidy, fast-flowing football, diminutive players, if you like.
They've always had strong players, though. I mean, even going back as far as Nadal, and then you've got Puyol, and Busquets is no pushover. Mascherano. It's not like they're soft. I think there is a little bit of a.
But I mean more offensively, the physical specimens of Ronaldo and Gareth Bale, they're big blokes. Whereas I don't think you get that so much with Barcelona. You've got fast, nippy, your Messi's, and I'm not saying Messi's a little wimp. He's not, but he's not the same physical specimen as those people are.
So I mean, in terms of look on the field, I believe it's set to change. We've had 3 decisions in a row that could have gone our way that didn't. 2 penalties that are ridiculously soft, and a goal that could easily have stood. I think we've earned, if we keep playing the way we're playing, and teams have to keep sitting back, and we just get a little bit more, as you said, the rub of the green, I believe that our look's set to change, and hopefully, even maybe more importantly so, our look could change off the field, and Van Dijk could be sold on Liverpool, and we could go in January and get him. But
yeah,
that is down to luck, because City are going to go all out, and Southampton are going to want to sell to City ahead of us, so it's going to be down to Van Dijk and how much he really wants it.
Yeah, and how much influence his agent has over him. Because if he goes to City, his agent's going to end up getting more out of it, I would imagine.
You say that, and I understand exactly where you come from, but we've paid a lot to agent fees. I remember seeing it like a rundown, and Liverpool were one of the top 4.
Who were behind City?
I can't remember.
I don't know. I've not seen it, so I'm not sure about that.
We pay a lot of money to agents.
Yeah. I think all the top teams do now. I think you have to, don't you? Unfortunately.
Okay, so on to the next topic. I've not really answered either of the other 2. All right, let's go back. So was Solanke's goal right to be disallowed?
Yes.
Maybe is my answer to that. I'm going to sit on the fence. Is Liverpool's look set to change? I believe so, yes.
Yes, I'll go yes as well.
So do Liverpool need a more classic number 9?
It's a difficult one. On the face of it, yes. But I know he's not fit, and I know everyone's going to be screaming when they're listening to this, but we have a classic number 9 who doesn't get played even when he is fit. I mean, he played, obviously I'm on about Daniel Sturridge.
Don't say his name.
I know. But he started 2 games in a row, scored twice, and got put back on the bench as soon as other people were ready to come back in the team. A classic number 9 has to play games to be match sharp, to put the ball in the back of the net. I don't care what anyone says, that's a fact.
It's not a fact.
It is a fact.
It's not a fact, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was like a classic number 9. He used to come off the bench all the time and score goals, so it's not a fact. Ole Gunnar
Solskjaer was like David Fergloff.
Yeah, so there's 2 examples, so it's not a fact. I know where you're coming from, but you can't state it as a fact.
No, there are impact players that can come on and do that, but a number 9 is not an impact player.
You can have number 9s who don't play and then come back into the team and score goals. I don't buy into that at all.
Well, I do buy into it because match sharpness is massive. Look at the amount of strikers that are out.
It depends how long.
It takes them 3, 4, 5 games to get back in the stride.
I think it depends how long. If you rotate a player for 1 game or 2 games and he comes back in and he can't score, that's worrying. If you're talking like months, if it's an injury or something like that, or Yeah,
Well, but not even for an injury. Like I say, Sturridge came in, scored twice. As soon as other people were back fit, he was straight back out of the team. If we bring in another number 9, is he going to be treated any differently? I love Jurgen Klopp. I think he's brilliant, but he is never going to play a classic number 9
is
in,
Sturridge
in
really a
this
classic number 9?
this
No.
Liverpool in this Liverpool team.
Is he a true classic number 9? Is he that poacher? Because I don't see him that way.
I don't think there's many classic number 9s left in the world. If you want to just talk about poachers,
Agreed, but does he have that poacher's instinct?
yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
See, I don't think he does. And I'll go back to something here as well, because I was you asked me the other day about Aubameyang, and because he's got so much more to his game, you start to think that he's not really a poacher. So I went back, as I say, I like to do a little bit of study beforehand.
Yeah.
I went back and I checked out his goals for Dortmund, and there's a lot of poachers' goals in there.
Excellent. Good.
A lot of poachers' goals.
So there you go.
So if you would ask me now, given the way we play, given the pace that he's got, given the fact that he can dribble, given the fact that he can shoot from distance, given the fact that he can score poachers' goals, I am 1,000,000% behind Aubameyang to Liverpool.
Yes, I was 3 days ago.
So, no, I'm just, listen,
No, I would definitely have him in, but because he can bring you other things, he's going to give Klopp what he wants other than just the classic number 9 goals.
as I said in my rant, if you can give me something to think about, and I can go away and think about it, I can change my opinion, and that's what I've done. So I would be 1,000,000% behind him, because
You've changed my mind in the past, so that's all good.
the problem that you have there is Firmino then either becomes a strike partner, in which case, do you know what? If we
It's
were
not
to
a problem for me. The answer's there.
No, it is, but it's not, because say if you're going to go to two up front, which Klopp just simply won't do. If he did, it'd be like a 4-3-1-2 or something like that. But then he hasn't got that one to play in behind him anyway. So the only way I could see it working if Aubameyang was to sign would be if Firmino could play as part of a 3.
Yep.
Now, he's intelligent enough, but I've also said in the past, when he goes out wide, he disappears.
I wouldn't play him out wide though in that 3.
But you play Aubameyang as a winger?
No. I'd play Aubameyang as a number 9.
Right,
I'd
so
play
where does
Firmino where Coutinho plays.
So you'd play like the 4-3-1-2?
No, I'd sell Coutinho for 200 million, and that'd pay for Aubameyang, Virgil van Dijk, and a defensive midfielder.
Yeah. No, I'd be on board with that, but I'm saying tactically, would you be looking at a 4-3-1-2?
The 4th with no.
So how are you going to fit Firmino in? This is what I'm asking you.
I would play a. Yeah, let me think now.
It's more difficult than you think.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. It's just I've done this before, and then someone said to me, "You've got 12 players there." I would play a 4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1. Okay, so you've got Aubameyang at the tip.
Yes.
Firmino in behind him with Salah and Mane.
Salah and Mane either side, and then Keita when he comes in.
Now here's an interesting point. I would swap Mane for Thomas Lemar in that setup.
Is that based off current form?
No, it's based off what they do. And
Yeah.
if you're gonna have,
Because when we were talking about it, I asked you obviously on the last podcast. I said to you, is Thomas Lemar better than either Salah or Mane? And you said no.
True.
So interesting.
But what I'm saying is, I would rather have the more creativity for a goal scorer like Aubameyang than have both Salah and Mane both trying to score goals with Aubameyang as well. I don't see the balance there.
That's fair enough, yeah.
Interestingly, if Firmino drops back, or even doesn't drop back, and it's like a 4-2-2-2, you know, like that box formation that the Brazilians play.
Yeah.
If they,
Narrow, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that that's what we're going to do, but interestingly, if we do that, or if we have Aubameyang at the tip, just him on his own, or flanked by two other players, I would rather have Thomas Lemar than Sadio Mane.
See, I think what I would do in that situation is switch Salah and Mane, because at the moment you've got them playing classically on the wrong wing so that they can cut inside.
I still don't see enough creativity.
It convinces them more to go around the outside and create stuff wide.
See, I still don't see enough creativity, and I was watching City.
See, I do, because Firmino obviously is in behind Aubameyang, and then once Keita's is in as well,
yeah, but
he's going to offer you that.
That's Firmino's more about taking people away. He's not a classic passer of the ball. He's not going to get you...
I think that's so unfair. I mentioned this on a post that I did not so long since. I think, yeah, Firmino is absolutely brilliant at taking other people away and allowing the other players in the team to do what they do.
Yeah.
But I think that takes away so much from what he can actually do himself as a player as well.
Oh, he can. I'm not saying that.
But control, he's getting out of tight situations, and he's threading of passes. Like I said the other day, for me, he's the only one that would have passed when Mane shot out of the front four, and that's because he's aware of what's around him.
I see him as a good passer, but in open space. What I'm saying is, if you're talking about Mane is like a give and go player.
Yeah.
So if you think Aubameyang has enough to his game to be that give and go, then that's fine. Mane's sound where he is. If you don't, you need a more creative player. Personally, I think Mane's a bit too selfish to play in a team with Mane, Salah and Aubameyang, and if one of them had to go to get more creativity in there, Mane would be my choice.
I think he's shown traits of that certainly recently. He doesn't like. I don't think he likes Salah taking the spotlight away from him, and that's why he's been having a couple of shots where you'd expect him probably not to, and possibly trying a little bit too hard. But I think with the give and go thing, if he could be a little bit more scripted, and I said earlier on I don't like that. I don't really, but to a certain extent, you play a position, you play where you're told to play. If he's going to play out wide, his give and go would be with Firmino. So he'd play it into Firmino, back out wide, he whips it in. That's where Aubameyang is in the middle. It's a perfect triangle.
It's not his game.
It's the same on both sides.
It's not his game. Nowhere as it is Thomas Lamar's game.
A few crosses against West Brom.
Yeah, a couple of crosses isn't going to make me change my mind about that.
No, but I mean, I don't know. Didn't you say you prefer Thomas Lemar in the centre?
Yeah, as we are now, because we've got Coutinho. And Coutinho is enough creativity with Firmino. And there's the balance, you see. You've got Firmino and Coutinho, who are both more unselfish and both would look to bring people into the play. And then you've got Salah, who's more likely to pass the ball than Mane, but still not like that kind of player where you think, oh, well, he's going to be creative enough to do it. For me, if you're going to have a front four, two of them have to be able to assist on a regular basis, and Aubameyang doesn't give you that if you're going to bring him in. Mane doesn't give you that, Salah doesn't give you that, and Firmino playing out of position would be a risk. So that would be where
I'll have a look back. I'll do a you and have a look back on that. I'm not sure how many assists they've got between them.
Well, that
because
would be
when they were all playing well together and they were much more cohesive. They were all assisting each other.
I agree, but they were also
like
the thing is they were doing that in games where there was space. I'm talking about games where your Evertons and your West Broms are going to put not put 10 men behind. And I'm sorry to couple West Brom with Everton because it was completely different performance. But you know what I mean. They're going to make it difficult for you. They're going to not give you that space, and you need someone who's going to play on the half turn, who's going to look to give and go, but also not be someone who's like basically David Silva. He will score goals, but his primary instinct is to create.
Yeah.
And we don't have that.
No.
We have it in Coutinho in a different way, but we don't have that player who can come out wide, bring someone out wide, beat him to leave the space in behind, and then get get there to either pull the ball back or anything. And I watched us against West Brom, and it was the same thing over and over again. We tried to go through the middle, and there was 8, 9 players there just waiting for us. If you're going to beat a team like that, you either need a winger who's going to get down to the byline and bring it back, or you need some clever interplay, and we didn't have either.
Absolutely, yeah. So I actually saw a heat map after the game, and we were so narrow, it was unbelievable. You just can't do that. I mean, going back to that though, with teams that sit behind the ball, I think that's got to start much further back in the field for us. It's not just about, you can get someone who's going to pick a lock and play a fantastic ball through and open up defences. That will happen, but when they sit that many players behind the ball, there's just no space for it. You've got to be dragging teams out, and that's when you need a Van Dijk. And where Keita, as much as he'll be box to box, will sit a little bit on the ball and drag people out to him because they'll be afraid of what he's going to do. So they have to deal with him first, which stretches the pitch. And then there is space in behind. So I don't think it's an immediate problem with the 3 behind the striker. I think it's further back in the field again where we know we've got problems anyway.
Yeah. And no, I agree with that as well. And obviously, the other way to beat teams like that, as I say, clever interplay, it's going to be the midfielders running on to equal it up.
Yeah.
Because if you've got 8 or 9 players back, and you've got like Mane or Salah trying to get past and losing a 50-50, and then winning a 50-50, but then the ball goes out, and then they have to win another 50-50 and another 50-50. If there's another player there to help them out, then they're going to be able to, knock that ball off, or that player's going to go in and get the ball. It just makes it a lot more difficult, a lot more challenging for the defence. As it was, Mane and Salah, people will say they had poor games, and to a degree, I do agree. But at the same time, how many 50-50s, haven't got smashed in tackles? They kept the ball. They kept the ball, and they kept it moving, and they kept going and going and going. And I think at some point, you just have to say, they weren't at their best, but they still gave as much as you can possibly give. Like, the amount of times that they had 3 or 4 players trying to tackle them and still carried on.
Exactly. West Brom just did a very, very good job on them.
Yeah.
You've got to, like you say, at some point you've got to say how many times did they win them 50-50s, but West Brom just did a good job, and you've got to accept that sometimes.
And the other thing is, until Coutinho came into the middle of the park and started to at least try to dictate, West Brom could just put the deck chairs out.
Yeah.
And that's where you need someone who's going to be a threat from distance. So, Coutinho has that sometimes, but not on a regular basis. You need, and
I think we've got a few players that are capable, but don't pull the trigger on a regular enough basis.
Well, funnily enough, we talked about him in the last podcast, but Frank Lampard's the kind of player that you would have liked in that situation.
Yeah.
Because he'd have smashed one. And even if he doesn't score, it creates enough uncertainty in the defence. Yeah. And again, just to wrap it up, you need that number 9 in there sniffing around for chances. And there was a couple of times when that ball was in a position where a natural striker, a natural poacher, would have sniffed out chances, and we didn't have one.
Without a doubt, our best situations were from low crosses from around about 3/4 of the way up the pitch, from either side actually, but mainly Trent, and you need a number 9 to be on the end of them.
And Aubameyang is going to get you those goals. You know, those ones where we're sliding in and just missing them.
Yes, he'll be on the end of them, yeah.
Or you've got someone who should be playing just off the shoulder, but isn't.
Yep.
That's what he's going to do for you.
Absolutely,
he will bring you that. And I think Danny Ings will bring you that to some degree as well. Because he's not scared to put his head in where it hurts, and he's got much better movement than people give him credit for, and he is a bit of a poacher. So I'd like to see Danny Ings back. Yeah, exactly. I'd like to see Danny Ings back in the team, but personally, I'd like to see Sturridge gone. I'd like to see Solanke and Firmino rotated as, like for like type of players, and I'd like to see Ings and Aubameyang, and then we've got a 4 that can really cause problems.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to think Solanke's young enough to become that number 9. I know it's a lot of it's natural instinct, and you've either got it or you haven't.
Mm.
But he can be taught to an extent as well, and he is young enough to become that. But if we
I
don't set
don't
that
see it in
system
him.
soon enough, then he's not going to.
I like him, but I don't see that in him. Now
No.
I'd love to see him prove me wrong, and
Yeah,
you know, that'd be great. But I just don't see it. And as you say, there is that kind of natural ability. It's very rare that players develop that afterwards. And I'll give you an example of a player who did. Diego Costa.
yeah.
Diego Costa was like a number 10 almost, like a support striker, and his creativity and his dribbling were the two.
Atletico Madrid, yeah.
Yeah, they were the two things that were most prized by Atletico, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden he became a poacher, and a damn good one as well, I might add.
Yeah, he was alright.
Oh, I both hated and loved Diego Costa in equal measure, because I hated him because he was a rat, but
But he was a great
I
player.
loved him because he was exactly what Liverpool was screaming out for.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fact that we nearly had him as well. I think we can leave that there now anyway, and just hope that Aubameyang comes.
It would be nice, yeah.
It would be very
perfect
nice.
actor in that position.
On to the predictions, Premier League, obviously. Weekend and Monday. So, Leicester against Crystal Palace. Oh, I must give you your credit as well. You got 2 results spot on,
Okay.
and you got very little wrong.
Yeah, I think I did pretty well this week, and makes a nice change for me recently.
Well, you got Chelsea spot on,
Yeah.
and you got Man United spot on. So well done there.
Makes a nice change. Let's
Well,
hope it comes. It's because I didn't put any bets on, you see.
Well, I got all the right results, just not the scores. The only one I got wrong was Watford, I think. Was there another one I got? Oh yeah, Watford and Liverpool. Sorry.
Yes.
And
yeah.
you got Watford and Liverpool wrong as well. So we actually
What?
tied, but you got 2 correct scores. Oh no, I got 3 wrong because I got Leicester wrong as well.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you win that week.
So I won for one.
I'm playing for a bit of pride this week now. It's usually me who wins the predictor, though, isn't it?
It is. It is. Yeah.
Okay, Leicester v Crystal Palace.
2-1 Leicester.
This is a tricky one because Crystal Palace
Yes.
are just managing to find points, and I think they could do again. I'm going to say 2-2.
It's Hodgson's level, innit?
Yeah. But listen, we give him loads of stick, and as you say, it's his level. But fair play to him. They were bottom when he
He
took
does it
over.
well. Don't get me wrong. He does it well, but that's his level. He's back at it. He'll probably have him in mid-table by next season.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's the Allardyce Pardew merry-go-round, isn't it?
Yeah.
Allardyce Pardew. Who's the other one? Moyes.
Pulis Moyes has jumped on it
Pulis
now.
Moyes, yeah, and maybe Kerbishley if he ever comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss Alan Kerbishley. He was a
I
nice.
actually rated him at one point.
Yeah,
but
he's a decent little
I
character as
swapped
well.
rate Pulis at one point as well, so
Mm.
we won't go into that.
Arsenal against Newcastle.
2-0 Arsenal. Newcastle struggling at the moment.
I think this could be a really, really bad game for Newcastle. This Arsenal will be frustrated after West Ham. They're gonna want to show what they're about. I'm gonna go 4-0 Arsenal. Sorry, Rafa.
I actually got that one wrong as well. On the last one.
Which one?
Because I think I have West Ham one now.
Oh yeah, you did.
It was 0-0 on it, but it was.
I had
Yeah.
Arsenal 2-1, I think. So anyway, Brighton and Hove Albion against Burnley.
Absolutely storming 0-0.
I'm going to give it to Brighton. Burnley aren't the best travellers.
No.
Usually, I know they've started off this season like on fire in terms of the travelling.
1-0 here and there, and they're not setting the world alight, they're just getting results.
Yeah, and Brighton have a really good home record, believe it or not.
It's the last 6 though. They've been really shocking, haven't they?
I'm going to say 1-0 Brighton because they need it badly.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a little bit of heart in there because we need to win and hope Burnley don't to get back in the top four.
Yeah.
Amongst other things. Chelsea against Southampton.
Chelsea 2-0. That's conservative as well. I mentioned about Southampton on the last podcast. I'm still worried about them, and they didn't do anything to change that in the last game when they got mullered.
I'm still not worried, but that was a bit bad. I'm gonna say 1-0 Chelsea, and I'm gonna say that it's gonna be a repeat of the type of Man City, everyone behind the ball.
Yeah, they actually played really well against Man City.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be that kind of thing, and then someone like Hazard or Morata's gonna pop off.
Yeah.
In the 89th or 90th minute. So a little bit of extra prediction there for you. Stoke against West Ham.
West Ham 2-0.
Yeah, I would go with that. I'll say 2-1. But I think West Ham have turned a bit of a corner.
Definitely.
Watford against Huddersfield.
1 apiece.
No, my boys are going to get it back here. 2-1. Watford, obviously. Man City against Tottenham.
I think City will win 3-1. I think Spurs will think they've got a point to prove, and there seems to be quite a lot of overhype around this fixture, but I just can't see him causing City enough problems, and City are just far too good at the moment.
It's a tricky one, this, because when Tottenham turn up, they can play against anyone, but the form City are in, I think Tottenham will make it difficult. I'll go 2-1 City. Yeah, 2-1 City. And credit to Tottenham for me even having to think about the scoreline, because usually when City are concerned, it's like 5-0. so as long as you don't lose by more than 1 goal, it's kind of a win. That's the way City are going at the moment. Yeah. West Brom against Man U.
1-0 Man United. I think that's a pretty stonewall result every week, isn't it, though?
Wouldn't it be beautiful if they turned up the way they turned up against us, though?
It would, but I don't think they will.
I'm going to 2-1 to Man U. But that's got potential to be a bit of a banana skin for United, that game.
I hope so.
Do you know what? No, I'm going to say 2-2.
Okay.
I'm going to say 2-2. Bournemouth against Liverpool.
2-0 Liverpool.
Bournemouth like to try and play an offside trap.
We're too quick.
And they like to try and play football. In the games that I've seen them try and defend this season, they've not been very good at it. It's just our luck that they'll end up West Brom or Everton us. Again, sorry to West Brom for putting you in that sentence, but I'm gonna have a bit of gumption about me. I'm gonna say 4-0 Liverpool.
See, that's where I wanted to go, but having gone 5 or 6-0 against Everton and 5-0 against West Brom, I'm trying to chill out a bit this week.
I'm not gonna try and overthink it. I'm gonna say that everything in terms of how these two teams play football means that
Bournemouth, to a handsome victory,
yeah, Bournemouth should be an opponent that we should deal with, and just because West Brom put in an absolutely fantastic performance, it doesn't mean that we can't. And to be honest with you, I think we need to get away from Anfield.
Yeah,
I really do.
A few old games on the bounce on it,
and I'm fed up of having to say this, but our fans. It's like if we haven't scored in the first 10-15 minutes, they just turn on the team.
Grumblings everywhere.
It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing, man.
Yeah.
So I think being away from Anfield, I think rotation, get Oxlade-Chamberlain back in the team because he's clearly our best central midfielder, even at this early stage in his career.
Yep.
4-0. And then obviously Everton against Swansea.
Everton 2-0. I think Swansea are just dire straits at the moment.
Swansea are desperate, and never underestimate a team that's desperate. Everton are on a little bit of a high. Well, a lot of a high because they won their cup final by drawing with us. But Swansea could get a draw out of this one. So I'm going to say 1-1. They're due a goal. They're not the worst defensively. And I think Everton might sort of look over Swansea a little bit and think that this is a game they should win. And as soon as Everton start thinking they should win games...
I don't think Allardyce will let them do that.
You say that, but...
I can't see him thinking that they deserve or that they're comfortable enough to say they've won a game before the game kicks off at all this season.
I'm sticking with it 1-1.
Okay.
And, one more thing. Who's your shout?
Going off what we've just been talking about there and how bad Swansea have been, my shout this week is Wayne Rooney. That will never happen again.
Ooh. That is an interesting one. My shout, I'll go 2 shouts. I'll go mini shout as usual. And you'll like this one. He's due a goal. He should start the game the way that they've been set up. In fact, there's one. I'm between 2 of them actually, but I'll go with Mikel Antonio.
Very good.
He's down as a midfielder, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's playing.
I had him in my team for that reason. I had him in my team at the start of the season.
And he's proven in the past he can score a lot of goals, and him and Arnautovic are playing as like a front 2 at the moment. So one of those 2, maybe even Lanzini. I'm buying. I'm buying West Ham.
You're going all out on West Ham.
I'm buying West Ham, yeah. But so expect Stoke to just smash them.
So basically, I'm backing Rooney and you're backing Moyes. What's going on with this podcast?
I know. But yeah, Mikel Antonio's my shout. There's a couple of good shouts this week, actually, I'd say. But he's my little shout. My big shout, get Lacazette in your team.
Lacazette, yeah, I knew you was going to say that with your big one.
Get Lacazette in your team. Arsenal are a much, much, much better team when he plays. And
unfortunately, I sold him last week and can't afford to get him back in.
Ooh.
I've got a feeling I might regret that one.
See, I think I'm going to sell Harry Kane and get Lacazette in this week.
Yeah.
And then see how we go from there.
I've got an interesting one with that this week. Similar, because Spurs are playing City, so I'm guessing that's why you're willing to sacrifice Kane.
Correct.
I've taken Lamella out and brought in Willian. Against Southampton. Saved myself £3 million for next week.
Will he play though?
I think he will this week, yeah.
It's tricky.
That's the big problem with him. I mean, if he plays, I think he'll be decent performance. Possibly an assist and a goal, I don't know. But
see, Southampton are tough to score against. They are. And especially because
they weren't in the last game.
True.
And not against a great Leicester side at the moment. I mean, they've improved Leicester, haven't they, since Rio went in, so maybe that was a factor.
Do you think, though, that that's not a game where they would have known that they were going to have to be defensively drilled? And don't forget, Leicester play very much on the counter-attack.
Yeah.
So it's a different game, whereas City and Chelsea will expect to have the lion's share of the possession, which in a way makes it easier for them to defend if that's what they decide to do from the start of the game. Yeah,
definitely. Like we said before, Southampton played quite well against City, and it probably will be very similar. I don't know. It's probably one of those games that's the same as us every week, where if Chelsea get an early goal, it could be floodgates.
Well, big shout to...
If it'll take a long time to break them down.
Big shout to Claude Puel as well, by the way.
Yeah, definitely.
What a job he's doing early doors. Already proven that Shakespeare is an absolute fraud.
He's the luckiest man in football.
I can't
And now he gets to share his coaching prowess with Sam Allardyce, which is quite amusing.
Big Sam and Little Sam.
Big Sam, Little Sam, and Shakespeare sat in the stand. Did you see him at the weekend?
No.
Yeah, he's giving his opinion from the stand now down to Sam Allardyce through one of those earpieces.
Well,
You know, he always has someone out there. It's Shakespeare doing it. That's
well,
his new
where I
job.
sit, the only thing I could make out was the blubberous mass that is Sam Allardyce. Okay, as always, we want to end on Liverpool. So, who's going to be the determining factor for you in the Bournemouth Liverpool game?
Salah, I think he's due another lightning performance.
Yeah, it's hard not to go with him, isn't it? But I'm
It
gonna
is.
actually go Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah, I like Chamberlain. I think we were saying in the last one, I think his transition front to back and how quickly he moves the ball and the risks he's willing to take is absolutely what we need.
I think Klopp is going to turn Oxlade-Chamberlain into a special player.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
He's got all the tools to be something very special.
Yeah, the signing's beginning to look like it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? After a lot of people moaning about it when it happened.
I was always on board. Always
Yeah.
on board. I was always on board with Salah. I was always on board with Oxlade-Chamberlain. I was always on board with Firmino, and I was always on board on Matip. They're the four that I threw me
Matip's
hat
the one that
well into the ring.
Matip's the one that you talked me round on.
I'm not giving up on Matip.
Yeah, no, he'll be back. He just needs a decent partner.
He needs a settled run in a settled defence.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Okay, we'll call it a day there, mate. Pleasure as always, and look forward to the next one. What was I going to say before you go? Oh yeah, we're going to try and get them out now on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yep.
So hopefully, obviously, Chris has got kids and things to deal with, so it might not always be Chris.
No, that's it. Well, I'll be on as much as I can, but I'm sure we can get a few guests on here and there as well.
Yeah, and obviously we are always looking for more guests. And yeah, we'll call it a day there then, mate.
Brilliant. Nice one, mate.
No worries. I will speak to you, well, probably later on.
All right, mate. See you later.
Take it easy, buddy.
Bye.
Ta-ra. Okay, big thank you to Chris as always, and of course, big thank you to yourselves for listening. We do want you to get more involved. I've been doing a lot of work to get us guests in the near future, and we do have some things planned. If you have any ideas or any feedback, please let us know on otpafa@gmail.com. Alternatively, you can catch me on Twitter, RichieOTP, and that's pretty much it, really, other than the Facebook page, which is Over the Pool and Far Away. Always looking for people to join up on the Facebook page. The first place that the podcast is posted is on Facebook and Twitter automatically. And we've now got it so that all you need to do is click play. No need to download, no need to do anything else. Just click the play button and you can listen to us. So I'm going to wrap it up there, and as always, come on Liverpool.